Hello, 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 everybody. Let me just double check my settings, and I'm not sure if you heard me sneeze. I really quickly muted my mic, and things went kind of kaflooey in my headphones, so hopefully it didn't ruin the experience of the intro video, but whatever. It is what it is, right? Welcome, welcome, welcome to another edition of Tarot by Hilary Live. Let's see. The first live one, I think in 2 weeks. So let me show the intro video and I will be back in 20 seconds to introduce this week's topic, which is another unboxing, specifically the deck of the month for July. So let's get started. Hello, 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 and welcome to another edition of Tarot by Hilary Live. I am your hostess with the mostest, Hilary of tarotbyhilary.com, professional tarot reader and EFT tapping practitioner, here to demystify the mystical and put you in touch with the most beautiful of gifts, your own intuition. Because yes, my friends, do not argue with me. You have intuition. So this week's episode, we are getting into July. We are getting into the deck of the month for card of the day polls, and July's deck of the month will be the Wild Unknown Archetypes Deck and Guidebook. So Wild Unknown Archetypes Deck is not a tarot deck, not a tarot deck. It is 78 cards, but it is 78 archetypes. It is not a tarot deck. I will repeat several times during this episode. It is not a tarot deck. So this particular deck I got in 2019. The publisher is HarperCollins, Harper One, which is an imprint of HarperCollins Publishers. And I happened to get what I believe to be the last ticket to the launch party down at ABC and Company down in New York City, and got myself a ticket to their launch party, which also guaranteed me a copy of this deck. It is hefty, size of my face. It is a great deck. So we will be exploring this deck all month long for the month of July. And tonight is the unboxing. So I will say that we're not going to have time to go through 78 cards of the Archetypes deck, but I will unbox it for you. I will open it up and show you. It's not going to be true unboxing because I did work with this deck before, but I never got an opportunity to make an unboxing video. So this is more of a, again, revisitation of the deck. So not a true sight unseen unboxing. So Jenny is here. Hello to Jenny. Welcome, welcome, welcome. And we also will do the 3 pillars of the Tarot by Hilary live stream, which is the astro-weather from Teresa Reed's wonderful Astro-Biz Digest. We will break in the middle for the mid-episode reading. And I really think that for these revisitation videos, for these unboxing videos, the proof is in the pudding with the mid-episode reading. So I really want you guys to see these decks in action. And so that really is what the mid-episode reading is for in these unboxing videos. So we will open up the deck and I will show you a little bit about the archetypes deck, what I like about it, what I don't like about it, what the packaging looks like, what I enjoy, what I don't like, and then we will move into the mid-episode reading. And then, of course, at the end of the episode, we will have the weekend forecast, so you can move into the weekend prepared and not scared. And I will probably choose a different oracle deck than the archetypes deck for the weekend forecast. Most likely either the Starseed Oracle or the Work Your Light Oracle deck, both of which are from Rebecca Campbell with artwork by Danielle Noel. So that is, in a nutshell, the episode for tonight. And before I go any further, since we're already 5 minutes into the broadcast, I just want to make sure that we're broadcasting correctly. Let me do the tech checks before we get too far. Let's see. Because it would really stink if we got too far into the episode and I found out that we're not working. We're not working, or we're not recording. All right, looks like we're good to go over on the Book of Face. Let's double check the two of you. Two of you is looking good too. Yes, yes, yes. Okay, fantastic. Fran is also helping. I hear and I see you. Thank you, Fran. All right. So let us start with the astro-weather from Teresa Reed, aka the Tarot Lady. I know there are a few retrogrades going on right now. I know that we had Saturn going retrograde at the beginning, I think, of this week, or the beginning or the end of last week. It's in retrograde. And then I know that Neptune also went retrograde. So we have a couple of retrogrades going on. So I'm sure that that affects us in some way, shape, or form. So let us get to the nitty gritty from the Astro Biz Digest, which is Teresa Reed's wonderful subscription, $99 for the year. Astrology in layman's terms, straight to your inbox. Once again, it is geared towards entrepreneurs and business owners, but I found it to be incredibly helpful in planning my personal life as well. And you can find that at www.thetarotlady.com/astrobizdigest. So that's right there in the lower third. And also I've dropped it into the chat for you as well. So let me pull that up, and actually let me pull that up onto my phone so I don't have the problem of too many tabbies at once. Because sometimes I overtax my computer when I do that. Alrighty. All right, there's the monthly summary. Okay, weekly forecast for July 1st to the 7th. All right, a lot going on this week. First of all, it's the 4th here in the States, so that was yesterday, which means a lot of folks will be on vacation. You might be too. However, if you are working, there are plenty of good spots and a few troublesome ones. So first up, Neptune stations retrograde on the 2nd. So that was a couple of days ago. Your planetary cue to get real. During the slow mode transit, you'll have opportunities to see where you need to make changes. You'll also know where you might have been lax and need to firm up. For example, if your boundaries have been breached repeatedly, that's a red flag. If you don't dig that vibe, use this information to create new, more robust client care policies. Neptune will be direct on December 7th. So this is going to be a couple of months. Neptune will be retrograde starting on the 2nd. So it's already retrograde, and it will continue to be retrograde until December 7th. So you've got a while. You've got a couple of months to get real, firm up boundaries, and use that information to see where you need to make changes. All right. A few hours after Neptune makes its annual retrograde, Mercury leaps into fiery Leo. This transit of the trickster planet is a powerful time for bold marketing, heart-to-heart conversations, and inspiring leadership. You've got until the 25th of this month to make noise, talk it out, or step into the role of an industry leader. Finally, the new moon in Cancer is ready for duty on the 5th. So that is today, new moon today. Use this lunation to purchase property or home office supplies. It's also super duper for updating client care policies and for treating your team. Your business instincts are super strong today, so trust your gut 100%. Set intentions around sensitivity, intuition, real estate, and boundaries. More boundary work, guys. You know, we are all about boundaries here. So, and if you're not familiar with boundaries, we have a couple of episodes in the archives. So go ahead and check out the replays, either on Tube of You or the Book of Face. Search boundaries. You should be able to find them. All right, so for Friday, hold on, let me hydrate. Whew. So Friday begins on a mellow note. So take it easy, rest up, and get your office in order. Mars sextile Saturn at 3:02 p.m. provides steady energy for the entire weekend. You can get so much done. It's also divine timing for marketing. If you're making moves, you can bring the cheddar in the door. The new moon in Cancer is here at 6:57 p.m., which we already talked about. So it hasn't happened yet, but it's going to happen while we're on the live stream. So in about 10 minutes. So today, Friday, is a power day for Cancer, of course, with the Cancer new moon, and a weak day for Capricorn. Any questions so far? Let me know in the chat. All right, Saturday and Sunday. The weekend is kind of a bust due to Venus squaring off with Chiron at 2:33 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. The public is wounded, sore, and not inclined to buy. However, if you insist on working, here are the best spots to make your mark. Connect with the public via a live stream or some other event when the moon is in conjunction with Venus at 12:27 p.m. on Saturday. It's followed by a moon-Uranus sextile at 4:24 p.m. These aspects bode well for commingling with your community. Sunday has the Leo moon, your ideal lunation for presentations, public speaking, and glitzy marketing. Two aspects favor marketing and PR. The Moon-Mercury conjunction at 4:23 p.m. and the Moon-Jupiter sextile at 6:19 p.m., both Eastern Standard Time. However, despite these goodies, you'll want to exercise caution. As I mentioned, the public is moody AF. One wrong move and you're canceled. My plan, relax, don't do it. Saturday is a power day for Cancer and a weekday for Capricorn, and Sunday is a power day for Leo and a weekday for Aquarius. So, knowing all of that and knowing there's a lot of big transits going on this week, please let me know if you would like to further take a look at Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, or Thursday of this week. If things were a little bit weird for you or funky for you and you want to know the astrological reason why, I will take a look briefly at the AstroBiz Digest before we move on to the archetypes unboxing. And I'm also going to plug in my computer. And move some stuff out of the way because I have a very messy workspace going on right now. And it's also super warm in here. I feel like a wilting lily right now. It is warm. But I can't run the AC yet because otherwise then you will not hear me. It will be very, very loud in here. Ugh. I'm like sticking to the seat. Very, very, very warm in here. Yeah. Fran says, oh man, it's been hot everywhere. It sure has. Sure has. So earlier today, we were going to do a recording for Card Slingers. And then it just didn't happen, but it's fine because we usually batch recordings ahead of time so that we can like drip them out. So we're very caught up at this point, and I think we're the next episode, like we're caught up until I think end of September, I think. So we're good. Like sometimes we'll just meet with each other and we won't end up recording. And that was definitely what was going on today. So Mr. Tarot by Hilary had, he was meeting up with someone within walking distance. And then I said I would meet afterwards after the recording. And then I got up playing Dreamlight Valley. So I looked at my clock and I'm like, oh no, like it said I would be over there like an hour ago. Oopsie. So I got myself ready and I walked out the door, and I swear as soon as I hit the pavement, it was just like a wall of humidity. And I was immediately like sweating, like dripping. So it's warm. It's very warm. What? I was in a book club like that. How so? Like Card Slingers? Or just like, oh yeah, we didn't get around to it? All right. Anyone want the Astro reason why for Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, or Thursday? Or are we going to get right into unboxing the archetypes? Because I'm not going to jinx myself and say that it's just going to be a short show, because every time I say it's going to be a short show, it never is. And Katie's here. Hello, Katie. Welcome, welcome, welcome. All right. So saith Fran. Dive in. Dive right on in. All right. So the point of tonight's live stream is we are doing an unboxing / revisitation of the Wild Unknown Archetypes Deck, which is by Kim Kranz. It's not a true unboxing, as I have had this deck since the end of 2019 and never did a proper unboxing of it. So let's dive into it. Beautiful archetypes. The Wild Unknown Archetypes Deck and Guidebook. Again, this is not a tarot deck. It is more of an oracle deck. It has 78 archetypes. Whether or not they align with the tarot is something else entirely. Yes, there will be some alignments, like the mother, the father archetype aligns really nicely with the Emperor and the Empress cards. There's probably a death card or transition card in there, which would probably align with the death card of the tarot, etc. So again, published by Harper One, which is an imprint of HarperCollins Publishing. So some examples of the archetypes in this deck are the Mountain, the Temple, the Eternal Child, the Warrior, the Ocean, Aletheia or Thea, the Healer, the Mystic, the Shadow, the Self, Kairos, the Kiss. And interestingly enough, Kairos is on the back of this deck, but I pulled Kairos yesterday. I did not pull a card for today because knowing that I was going to do the unboxing, I figured like, we can get into it. We can do card of the day starting Saturday morning. So Katie says, I was going to suggest you should try the air conditioner, even if it's loud, because I found out recently on a Zoom call with a noisy air conditioner, they couldn't hear it. Our PC and headphones and mic actually do noise cancellation. You might hear it, but we mightn't. All right. Do you want me to try it out? Let's try it out. All right, I put it on. My noise canceling is pretty good. I don't know about you guys, so let me know if it's overpowering or not, and I'll switch it off. Okay, so it's quite possible that it might be overpowering, only because I'm using the internal mic from my computer, and then the speakers are my headphones. So Fran says, I heard it start, then nothing. All right, okay. Heard it start, then went quiet. Fantastic, that's great. Good news. Thank you for the suggestion, Katie, so that I am not completely dying of heat while I do this live stream. So, all right, back cover blurb for this deck. Welcome to the Wild Unknown Archetypes. You will find within 78 circular cards in a round box, lavishly illustrated 224-page guidebook. From the wellspring of the collective unconscious emerge images that appear in the dreams of every culture, illuminating our multiplicity and uniting us in the endless story of humanity. These are the archetypes. Their limitless potential is yours to behold as you travel to the realm of dreams, visions, and myth. May you always be on the inner quest. Now, I have spoken before about the Wild Unknown and about Kim Kranz. I have her Animal Spirit deck. I have the original Wild Unknown Tarot deck. I have, of course, the Archetypes deck. And then she did another deck after this one. And I think that was her final deck, which is more, I think, crystal-based, if I'm remembering correctly. But I don't have that one. So in my experience with the Wild Unknown universe, specifically the Wild Unknown Tarot, there have been people that either love the Wild Unknown or they hate it. There is no in between. There is no people that feel wishy-washy about the Wild Unknown. It's either they love it or they hate it. Fair enough. That's great. And I mean, it is a lesson for all of us, especially all of us that are public figures or looking to make a mark in the world or looking to voice our opinions either in the world or on the internet or in a public sphere, where it's just wishy-washiness is not memorable, it's either you have to sometimes court controversy, you have to sometimes be willing to go there with a hard opinion and know that not everyone is going to like you, not everyone is going to celebrate you. People will either really, really like you or really, really hate you, and there's no in-betweens. Now, and if there is in-betweens, that probably means that you're not necessarily doing something wrong, but you're probably softening yourself or making yourself palatable in some way because out of fear rather than anything else. So I think it's a good lesson. So I know that there's definitely going to be people out there that don't like what I do or don't like what I have to say. But in my old age of 43 years of life, I am learning, some days are easier than others, that not everyone is going to like you. And that doesn't mean that you shouldn't go out there and do your own thing. Think about the axiom, and it harm none, do what you will. So, archetypes. Let us go for it. I am playing with the less than full deck because I did take Kairos out of the deck for yesterday's card of the day. So, there's the back, there's the front, here's the sides. This is a little slip cover here. Pull it open. And go. We have a little arrow right here. And guess what it is? Is that a magnetic closure? I think it is. we stand. Magnetic closures here. So we open it up. And here we go. And it says, accept all, reject none. Right over here. You have the guidebook on top with a nice little ribbon. So we pull the ribbon, take out the guidebook, and then seated within is the deck itself, which is a circular deck. Here's the deck itself, nestled in there. Again, packaging has been stellar. Stellar. In recent years, deck packaging has been fantastic. Like, please save our cards. So we have the box itself. Pull it open. So this is the back of the cards. It's facets like it's a diamond. It's got different facets. So too are the archetypes, are different facets of us all. Open it up, and this also has a little ribbon in it, so you can pull out the cards. And there is the base. Here are the cards. And actually, in the base, we have one of my favorite archetypes, the Queen. So pretty. So this deck is such a pretty deck. The imagery is really gorgeous. And yes, Jenny, they're biggish cards. Yeah, they're big cards. They are. So here's the cards. Here's my face. Can you see my face? So that's about how big the cards are. And I wouldn't say that I have a big head or anything, but that's how big the cards are. They're big. So shuffling this deck can be difficult. So I try and do my regular overhand shuffle with these, but I have to be very careful when I do so. Otherwise, there will definitely be flyer cards. There will definitely be drop cards. And that is not a sign of to pay attention to those cards. That is simply, I shuffled badly. Now, sometimes it could be a sign, you know, a flyer card or a jumper card could be a sign. But in this case, they're big cards. They're harder to shuffle. So sometimes I will do a messy pile and just select. So there we go. And let us look to the guidebook here for descriptions and such. Beautiful. And also, this is a signed copy. So I got this at the launch party that was done down in the city, in New York City, at ABC and Company, in their beautiful upstairs like party event space. And so I did get this signed by Kim Krantz. So this guidebook and this deck is probably not going anywhere. I would probably not allow anyone to borrow this deck. And also, since this came out, you know, at the end of 2019, there is a smaller pocket-sized edition now available, I believe, on the HarperCollins website. So you may want to check that out. But yes, the original, biggish cards. So there are 78 cards in this deck, broken down into 4 different sections of 4 different types of cards: the selves, the places, the tools, and the initiations. So from the author and creator, Kim Krantz, it is possible that archetypes have their own agendas, their own work to do on us. With that in mind, I offer you my story. It had been about 4 years since I drew the Wild Unknown Tarot deck. I wasn't sure what was next for me. My days were full, yet lacked enchantment. I kept up with my usual practices of meditation, yoga, drawing, and creating. I worked hard as I had a successful business to maintain and material investments to accumulate. From afar, my life looked figured out, whatever that means. Imagine what you will. Somewhere along this dull line of the life I thought I should live, I met a new friend. She told me about a master's program with a depth, psychological, Jungian approach to creativity. As she spoke, the words archetype, dreams, image, theater, alchemy, and myth rattled and sparked. 2 weeks later, I found myself in Southern California milling around the school's campus as a prospective student. That evening, I attended a workshop on the role of the individual in a troubled world, led by mythologist Michael Meade. I sang new songs and heard new stories. After the workshop, I drove the hilly coastal highway to a friend's house by the ocean, knowing something was shifting inside of me. I arrived at her house as the moon began to rise. I fell asleep hard. That night, I had a dream, a big dream, as they are sometimes called. The ones that stick with you, the image, phrase, or scene you can't shake, understand, or resolve. Mine was simple. There is a mountain. It says, I am the mountain and I am calling you. I wake up. I was mesmerized and terrified. Little did I know I had entered the infinitely perplexing and generative world of archetypes, with the mountain as my guiding image. But was the image pointing me to the literal or to the imaginal? Was it inside me or out in the world? Should I go to Mount Kailash and seek wisdom in the sacred caves where the yogis dwell? Take a rock climbing class? Buy hiking boots? I decided enrolling in grad school was courageous enough. The mountain would take care of itself. I let the image go. As I continued my graduate studies, the disenchantment with my personal life increased. I was waking up to how much I had fallen asleep, as if half of myself was trying to summon the other half to life. Get up, Kim, it's time. Come on, girl, you can do it. I couldn't, though. I felt weak, ghost-like. One day I had a vision of myself walking out the door without telling anyone. Where would you go? My therapist asked. I don't know, I said. I just see myself walking. I end up in the mountains. Which mountains? She asked. I don't know. This ghost-like vision lingered with me for a while. Change takes time. The mountain waits. It is patient beyond patience. Oddly enough, though, that winter I was approached to create a series of drawings for a line of pro snowboards. I didn't usually take freelance illustration jobs anymore, and I hadn't ridden a snowboard in about 15 years. But I made an exception. I had a feeling. As any diligent artist does, I began my field research. That meant watching snowboard videos and documentaries and following feeds of renegade riders out there in the wild. There stood the image of the mountain again, its savage, expansive beauty, its stoic peaks, glimmering flutes and spines, gouging rivulets aimed simultaneously toward heaven and earth. I watched the tiny silhouettes of snowbirders racing for epic crests, and eventually my chest broke open. I sat on the couch and cried for the mountain. I cried for adventure. The tears wouldn't stop. I had been studying, working, drawing, and emailing so bloody hard for so many years that I had abandoned the part of me that loved to be in the world, with red cheeks, chilly toes, crisp air in my lungs. About a week later, my life began to free fall. Avalanche, in fact. I lost my fourth pregnancy. I left my marriage of 12 years. I shut down my company as I knew it. I closed our bustling New Age storefront in Portland. Out of necessity, I quickly moved to the Oregon coast and set up my art studio. I made a drawing of myself in the mountains and hung it on my otherwise empty wall. It was the only art I had up for many months. My talisman, my map. I had fallen from one summit in search of another. The deeper mountain, the inner mountain. Within it, there is a cave that holds a fire that contains the ocean. If this doesn't quite make sense, it's because we've already entered the realm of the archetypal story, where things are both up and down, where the mountain is both inside and out, where a falling is the beginning of a rising, where the poet, Poetics reign over the logistics. If you don't mind, just keep descending with me. I promise it will lead us to higher grounds, where we have a better view. The archetypes are already doing their work in their meandering, dreamlike way. I'm going to keep going. This is not my story, this is King Francis' story. Out on the coast, there was no snowy powder for me to ride, so I headed toward the mountain's sister image, the ocean. I went to her every day, rain or shine. I put my hand in the water and brought it to my lips with the prayer, "Show me the way." It was snow, after all, in liquid form. At some point, each drop had graced a mountain peak, so I trusted the practice. I thought of it as drinking the mountain. And being a diligent student, I didn't miss a day. Once spring arrived, I began to surf. The learning curve was steep. I was pummeled by her strength. I was turned over and over underneath the water until I gave up thinking I could compete with or control her. Somewhere along the way, I began to stand on her waves and eventually, occasionally, ride the momentum down the line. My muscles strengthened, my skin weathered. Every part of me became thicker and more embodied. What was ghost-like became warrior-like. What was dormant became enlivened. The role of the artist, after all, is to awaken that which has fallen asleep. It was during this period of effervescent change that I drew the archetypes deck you now hold in your hands. It was the year I faced the archetypal abyss and the archetypal ocean of disillusion. The mountain had led me all the way down to the bottom, to the shores of the ocean within the mountain. After sunrise surfs, I drive home and draw, collage, and write. Most of the images you see here were formed as much by the ocean as they were by me. In many ways, I do not feel like I made this deck. It made me. It put me back together, one salty droplet at a time. Driving along 101, I would hear the descriptions of the cards come forward, and I would pull off the road to scribble notes or text myself mythic tidbits. While lying in savasana, I watched the cards appear, then did my best to recreate them in the studio. A pendulum chose the cards' names for me. This deck wanted to become itself, and I did my very best to get out of the way, to let it pour forward toward you. It is possible that archetypes have their own agendas, their own work to do on us. With that in mind, I offer you my prayer. When an image calls to you, may you trust it. Within it, eventually, circuitously, wondrously, may you discover another, deeper image. Call it the ocean within the mountain. If you find yourself within its waters, look for me. No doubt I will be there. So with that, July is the archetypes deck for card of the day pulls. And I will do my best to paraphrase from the guidebook as much as possible. But this deck it's an invitation to explore these archetypes as they come up in the cards. So I will give you the interpretation from the guidebook. I will also give you my own interpretation. But know that each and every card that comes up this month, every day this month, is an invitation for you to explore that particular archetype for yourself. Are we all still? Are you all still with me? So archetype. Archetype is the original of its kind, the first image, the inherited emerging pattern, the initial and eternal energy. So archetypes, where do they come from? We can't spend much time with this question before stumbling across the work of psychologist Carl Gustav Jung, Jung. Though Jung was the first to develop and integrate the concept of archetypes into the world of psychology and healing, he would also be the first to acknowledge he had nothing to do with their origin. Even he was perplexed by the notion of their source. When did they begin? From what source do they originate? and what are their intentions? Yes. I'm warning, like this is more of a unboxing / warning. This will be a difficult exploration, I think. Yes. Yes, it does have a depth to it, Katie. So enchanted by these unanswerable questions, Jung devoted his life's work to studying archetypes within his patients, himself, and the world. First, he called them primordial images, a term that suggests they come from the beginning beyond the beginning. It also implies that they are related to images and the imagination. Soon, though, Jung landed on the word archetype, and it stuck. Though both terms offer a unique peek into these mysterious dynamics, archetype is an especially wonderful choice as arca means first and type means model or kind. The name implies these energies have been circling since the beginning of time and are an inherent part of a very existence. They cannot be suppressed, denied, hidden, gotten rid of, or fixed, no matter how hard we try. We inherit them from the very universe and they express themselves through us. They belong. So which archetype is the actual first archetype? Some might say the mother. It is possible she has always been there. Others may say that it is the seed or the nothing, the seed which contains all of life's potentials. Others might say it began with the one, and they may name that power God, goddess, universal intelligence, cosmic consciousness, or something of the sort. The point is, as soon as we name something mother, we have, consciously or not, established something else as not mother, or not the mama. If you've ever watched the show Dinosaurs, not the mama, we come to see that there is one birthing and the one being born. This moment can be thought of as the origin of archetypal energy, when oneness comes to be understood more deeply through its separation into parts, the mother and the child, the nothing and the something, the heaven and the earth, the self and the other. So some of it can be a dichotomy or in remembering its partnership. Like she was saying for the origin of the deck, the mountain and the ocean. She saw the mountain and the ocean as primordial bookends to each other, right? So there is a little bit of that going on in this deck. So origin stories across cultures reflect this primordial separation. They're infinite and everywhere, such as Shiva's dance of creation, the Zen concept of the original face, the Popol Vuh, and the Book of Genesis. In these narratives, you will find images that resonate deeply within the archetypes in this deck. Humans have long been grappling with naming, understanding, harnessing, and developing the archetypes that surround and inhabit us. So this is one of our most old and universal tasks, to build relationship with the multitude of dynamics in ourselves and the world. It's how we understand the world, basically. We begin our own journey as the child who longs to know the self. We can't help it. So a lot of this exploration is poetry, it's images, it's metaphor, it's the imagination. How the guidebook is set up: patterns, universal, timeless, infinite, light and dark, image, and no image can ever fully capture the archetype, which is part of the reason why she says, explore the archetypes for yourself. Like she can offer guidance and interpretation on it, but ultimately the best interpretation is going to be the meaning that you give it, or your own personal explanation. Like only you can give it meaning. So for each of these cards, you have a black and white image of the card, and then you have the name of the card, some keywords, interpretation, and then you have when light, so basically when in balance means this, when dark, which means out of balance, and suggestions to go deeper. So some of those suggestions may be a painting that she suggests you look at, or a piece of music, either classical or not, that you might want to listen to further explore that archetype. And then also some considerations in the side, in the margins. So that's how it's set up. And again, these cards are set up into 4 distinct categories: the selves, the places, the tools, and the initiations. So with that being said, we're going to explore this, right? We're going to explore this in more depth over the next month. So not every card you're going to be able to see, because there are not 78 days in a month. But what I offer to you is I will pull a card a day. And then on Tuesdays, for Tarot Tuesdays, it will be a choose your own adventure, in which I will pull 3 cards. You'll see them, the backs of them, and you'll choose either 1, 2, or 3. And that will be your card for the day when the reveals are posted. So, who wants to volunteer for the mid-episode reading of these babies? Because I will pull 3 cards. Maybe it's not meant to have 3 cards pulled, but I will pull 3 cards. But this reading, like Katie was saying, this will be a difficult exploration, I think. Quite possibly. So if you thought the Accurate AF deck was intense, like, multiply that by like maybe 1,000. So let us pull up the comment snake and the lottery jar, and let us use archetype as the filter word for the mid-episode reading. All right, Jenny's like, I'm in. So go ahead and comment archetype. And Katie says, I suspect these daily readings, it won't be a call for a day. I think it will be a call for a lot longer digestion. Yes. Yes. So there will be a lot, I think, to digest over the next week. Because the one card that I did pull yesterday was Kairos, and that was very, very intense. And also, I pulled it sight unseen, so I pulled the card, and then I took a picture of its guidebook page just to remind myself what it was all about. And then over the rest of the day, people that I interacted with, I was just like, who's this for? Who's this for? Because it's just like, yes, I think it's the card of the day, but I also think that this is for someone. And it turns out that I was absolutely right. It was for someone. I'm not going to say, I'm not going to give details to that, but yeah, it was for someone. It's definitely for someone. All right, so we are going to close up this in 3 minutes and 33 seconds. I am going to put Kairos back into the deck. We want to play with a full deck. And Fran says, well, seeing as I keep on getting hit over the head with my own words, yeah. And Katie is also bravely submitting. All right, so volunteering as tribute, right? I will take another sip of my boba, which, oh my. Well, the poor bobas. All right, so we got Fran, we got Katie, we got Jenny. All right. By the way, this is rosehip milk tea with regular bobas. And as always, I do have my water here too. Very important to keep hydrated, whether you're giving tarot readings or you're getting tarot readings or you're doing tapping. Keep yourself hydrated. And also, because it's freaking hot as balls. Hotter than the balls in my boba tea. All right, we got a minute left. Yeah. Not even aware of the air conditioner. Yeah, thank you again, Katie, for saying, like, just do it. Just do it. All right, 10 more seconds, and then we're going to pull the winner of the mid-episode reading, and may the odds be ever in your favor. I'm going to go stand in front of the air conditioner for 5 seconds. Hold, please. Ooh. Okay. All right. Are we ready? Are we ready? Let us choose the winner of the mid-episode reading for tonight. It is Fran. You know, Fran, you can't put this comment out there and then not expect for the lottery jar to pick you for the mid-episode reading. Right? Okay. So, as usual, what I would like you to do is write your question into the chat, and we will pull 3 cards, and you will get a reading right now from the Archetypes deck. And good luck to you, because I don't know what's coming, but you've had readings with me on here before, and listen, you know what you're in for. Even if you don't know what you're in for, you know what you're in for. So, I wouldn't say that the universe is out to get you, but I'd like to reframe it as the universe, like, life is happening for us, not to us. Precisely, Katie, precisely. The universe is providing us with lessons. Whether we want them or not, we need them, hence we get them. And also, if we're ignoring them either actively or subconsciously, they will get louder and louder or become more and more obvious until we finally heed them. All right, question. Like we were just saying, I keep getting my messages repeated. Just listen, pay attention, focus on what you are supposed to do. Just what is that? What is that? Do you know what you're asking, Fran? Do you? Like, do you want to ask that question? Because we're gonna. What is that? Okay. Or maybe how can you better how can you better integrate so that you start getting new messages, right? No, no. No, but as I'll pull. Katie's like clutches pearls. Just envision that my Labradorite pearls. I'm clutching them. I'm clutching them. All right. They're shuffled. They're shuffled. I'm going to messy pile. Actually, I'm not going to messy pile, but what I am going to do is spread them out and pick. Number one. Number two. And let's do number three. All right, are we ready? And even if you're not ready, here it comes. Okay. We have the archetypes of the shaman, the offering, and the prayer. Okay, so in this case, I'm going to go to the guidebook and then I'll provide my further insights. Actually, you know what? I'm going to do reverse. Strike that, reverse that, like Willy Wonka said in the Gene Wilder version, by the way. Strike that, reverse it. So we've got the shaman, the offering, and the prayer. So to me, these are it's exactly what you said in your question. I keep getting my messages repeated. Just listen, pay attention, focus on what you're supposed to. Just what is that? So your bigger question is focus on what you're supposed to. So what is it that I'm supposed to be focusing on, right? I feel like there are big spiritual lessons coming at you, and they've just been coming and coming and coming. And so it is that kind of overwhelming, but like as soon as you integrate one, the next one comes. You integrate it and the next one comes. So it just like, it feels as if this is just continuous up leveling, one after the other after the other. And I feel like in the next year, Fran, your life is going to be completely different when you look back. And in all good ways, I believe. But this next year is just, it's just a massive transformation. And so having the shaman, the offering, and the prayer, and having it be like all within, let me see here. I want to see which section these cards are in. So the shaman, is number 16. So that's in the self. The offering and the prayer are both in tools. So it's like you are the shaman and your tools are the offering and the prayer. So if you're not already integrating offerings and prayers into your spiritual practices, even if it's just placing water on an altar and refreshing that water daily, like that might be a missing piece that you might want to be doing. Now, if your spiritual practice is different than that, by all means, but like you know what I'm saying. Like there needs to be something that you're doing, working your tools and doing it daily in order to be able to make sense of all of this up leveling. And you are the shaman in this reading. So that's my interpretation first. Let's go to the guidebook. So the shaman is the magi, the sorcerer, and the medicine woman. I'm going to hold this up as I talk about it. 3 archetypal ingredients constitute the shaman, and all must be present in order to reveal its magic. First, the shaman is activated by long-standing and diligent study, the mentor. Second, its orientation is generously and accurately aimed toward the healing of the self, the other, and the culture, the healer. And third, the shaman has a knack for finding doorways to the other world, allowing psychic visions and old magic to leak into this world, the unseen. So these are all archetypes that are mentioned within this archetype: the mentor, the healer, the unseen. In this way, the shaman is a master who bridges the everyday and the sacred, revealing potent power needed desperately in our time. Yet where there is power, there is shadow. So the shaman must be vigilant in studying their darkness as well. This card reminds us that the force of healing is ultimately not our own. We must shape it and share it with the world. So when light, fearless student and practitioner. When dark, overpromises, blames, hurts self and others. And go deeper, read Black Elk Speaks and Michael Tucker's Dreaming with Eyes Open. The shaman can't be rushed. Working with this archetype requires study and perseverance. Think of it like brining or marinating. The content must permeate every fiber of its being. Contrary to popular belief, the shaman archetype appears in every vocation. Teachers, directors, surgeons, politicians, and poets are just a few of the faces a shaman may wear. So that's card number 1. Now, the offering and the prayer. Interestingly enough, both the offering and the prayer are directly in line with each other. Like the offering comes first and the prayer comes second in the chronological order of this deck. Notice that I did pull these 2 cards from separate places when the cards are spread out. So I feel like it's chronological. You need to do the offering before the prayer, if that makes sense. So Fran says, nods. So here is the offering. Beautiful cards, by the way. Beautiful, beautiful cards. The gift, the present, the sacrifice. Unlike many of the other cards in the deck, the offering carries a clear as day message and a call to action. As you may have guessed, it is time for something to be given and given up for the sake of the bigger picture. If nothing comes to mind immediately, though it's likely it will, take time in meditation to consider what must be offered and who is to receive it. It's likely you'll feel attachment and hesitancy. You'll make excuses. But recognize the link between the word sacrifice and the word sacred. One leads to the other. When we offer up something to the greater good, we lighten our load and become more able to serve. Imagine for a moment if you were to offer your whole self unconditionally to the world. For now, start small. When light, generosity, donation, volunteering. When dark, giving with expectations and keeping track. Go deeper, Odin's sacrifice of his eye in Norse mythology. Once a week, Gandhi gave up speaking for a day, offering himself to divine silence. The offering can come in all shapes and sizes. If there's a gift you've been thinking of giving someone special, now is the time. So, Fran, they're like within this card, if nothing comes to mind immediately, though it's likely it will take time and meditation to consider it, I think you already know. I think you already know exactly what it is you need to offer and what you need to give over. And then finally, the prayer. The worship, the reverence, the homage. What is prayer? When are we in a state of prayer and when are we not? To whom or what do we pray? Archetypally, the practice of prayer has been with us since the dawn of time as a remedy for the omnipresent self-centered thinking that spins us toward illusion. Prayer leads us beyond our ego as we move from our little story to the big one. Some say we are in a state of prayer anytime we are not the center of our own thoughts. Others say prayer is a natural result of gratitude. Perhaps it is simply surrender. So having like the offering and the prayer together, it's like super surrender. Surrender or service, whatever prayer is for you. This card reminds us of its importance. Get quiet, low, humble, and soft. Bow and touch the ground as your heart lifts to the sky. Though it may be uncomfortable, it is time. Nothing else will do. When light, offering to be of service, asking for guidance. When dark, expecting results and self-aggrandizement. And go deeper, ask to be of service. Experiment with the act of bowing down. Nearly all spiritual traditions make a practice of prostration. And then every song, kiss, breath, word can become a prayer. It is a feeling, not an action. Consider the ancient mantra, Ong Namo Guru Dev Namo. I bow to the creative consciousness within. I bow to the teacher within. So, that's the archetype deck that we're using over the month of July. How's everyone feeling right now? Fran, how are you right now? I hope this reading helped you. It's a lot. And I'm going to slowly put these cards back into the deck and walk away. No fast movements, no sudden movements. Okay, cool. That's more clarity than I have gotten in the past. Awesome. Intense messages, yes. Ooh. Beautiful deck. Very, very beautiful deck. But we are in for intense messages every day of the month of July, starting tomorrow morning. Though we did kind of start yesterday. All right, are we ready for the weekend forecast? Because I am not doing the weekend forecast with these. And by the way, let's do a quick ad break. Yeah, awesome, great. So Jenny says those cards spoke to me too. Well, sometimes there is those readings where they're like a piggyback reading where it's just like, is it specific to someone? Yes, it's specific to someone. But also, could those messages be for you too? Yes, absolutely. So ad break. If you are liking what you're seeing, if you're not a regular viewer, you happen to stumble across this live stream, either during the live or on the replay, feel free to follow me, Tarot by Hilary, on most social media platforms. Also, make sure to click the bell for notifications if you're watching on the Two of You, follow my channel, subscribe, do all of the thingies. And we do this every Friday night, 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And if you'd like a book a reading with me, you can do so at tarotbyhilary.com. Okay. So Fran says, past messages have been, I have to figure it out on my own. Yeah, up until now. And now it's time to give over. Yeah. And it's meant to be. All right, so I am going to leave it up to you, beautiful people. Even though the starseed is like coming off in my hand. The top is coming off in my hand. So, say this one or this one. Both from the same place. They're both Rebecca Campbell by Danielle, with artwork by Danielle Noel. Either the Work Your Light or the Starseed Oracle. So pick your medicine. I'm not going to say pick your poison. I'm going to say pick your medicine. And while you're picking your medicine, I'm going to go stand in front of the AC again. Have we chosen, or would you all allow me to choose for you? Because even the fluffy bunny decks are not so fluffy bunny in my hands. I have come to realize. Tis both my gift and my curse. I think we'll go with Work Your Light. What do we need to know for this weekend, besides all the astrology? I feel like we've gotten this card before. And it's definitely, it has this flavor of, like, there's a couple of cards in this deck that have the flavor of this particular card, but are not as, I don't know, specific. But there is this there is this, I'll address this comment in a second, but there is this sense of breaking patterns. And it's been a message that has been coming up lately, not just in general readings, but also for like my clients about breaking patterns, breaking chains. So I am not at all surprised to see Unbound come up. So Unbound is releasing soul patterns, contracts, and past lives. So I'll read from the guidebook in a second, but it's basically like breaking patterns that are no longer serving you. So Katie says, my brain is gone. COVID, just caught it. I'm sorry, Katie. Oh my gosh, I'm sorry. And all I can see is that your earplugs are matching your halter neck clothing. Brain is in blah, blah, blah state. I get it. And yes, that is not an accident. This is my power color. So it's like a nice like lilac-y color. So yes, that is true. These match this, and I also got a new Fitbit, which is also a lilac-y color, but it's not quite the same, but that is completely intentional. So you'll have to come back and watch the replay when my voice does not sound like wah, 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 wah. All right. So, Unbound. So Unbound is an activation card in this deck. Unbound. It is time to release old soul stories that have been playing out in your life. They are coming up to be healed. There has never been a safer time to figure these patterns than right now. Take a look at patterns in your life that you are ready to release. Ancient vows and contracts that your soul made that have an expiration date. It could be a vow of silence or chastity or poverty. It's time to unwind from them. This is the life in which you free yourself from trauma of lives past. What old ways of being have an expiration date? When you name them, you claim them, and then they stop holding power over you. When acknowledging these old patterns, it's also important to acknowledge how they have served you up until now. I always do that in tapping too. I always acknowledge, like procrastination or defense mechanisms, or it's just like, thank you so much for keeping me safe. You were so smart. My younger self, like, thank you so much. Thank you so much for keeping me safe. You were so smart to do that. So acknowledge, acknowledge how that old pattern has served you up until now. For example, a soul pattern of playing small caused by a soul fear of being seen or sharing your voice would have served you by keeping you safe. In order to grow, you now need to soften by receiving and calling in support. It is time to unbind from the old ways of being that are no longer sustainable. Yes. So Fran says, they are coming for me. Yep. And Fran says, oh, Katie, I've had it twice. Once, not too bad. Second time is awful. Feel better. Yes. Everyone's sending you much love and healing, Katie. So if you want to, you may want to tap in the activation. So you might want to tap on the side of hand point, or you might want to tap through the points, or you might want to tap on your heart chakra, since if you had this card, you might want to hold it to your heart or tap on this. So I release all old soul stories, vows, and contracts. I release patterns that are no longer aligned with who I came here to be in the present time. I carry the lessons, growth, and gifts, but I no longer choose to live the same story. May I be unbound, forever unbound. Unbound, forever unbound. Unbound, forever unbound. Take a deep breath in. Hold it. And let it go. And drink water. like, I feel like I've gotten this one really recently, or like one of my clients has gotten this really recently, and then I'm just like, oh, this is a message. Like, this is a message for you, but it's also a message for like everyone. It's funny how that works out, right? All right, I think we're good. And look, it's an hour and 22 minutes in. So can I stick to an hour? No, I can never stick to an hour, at least not anymore. Can't do it. Can't do it. Don't want to. Once again, I thank you all for watching. Remember the oracle card for this weekend. Remember the reading from the Wild Unknown Archetypes deck. Remember that we're going to be working with this deck all month long. Card of the day, and then also our Tarot Tuesdays are going to be like, I guess, Archetype Tuesdays, in which you choose your own adventure, pick 1, 2, or 3, and then the reveals will be up later on in the day. It's going to be an intense exploration of archetypes this month. So Jenny says, thanks. Have a good night, all. And Katie says, thank you for that message, Hilary. Have a good weekend, everyone. Good weekend to you, too. Again, heal up, rest up. And remember, we do this every Friday night, 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And again, I thank you all so much for watching. Yes, Fran, have a great weekend. I am off to change my altar water. Yes. And you know what, Fran? I'm going to go do that too. It's a great idea. Once again, I am Hilary, professional tarot reader and EFT tapping practitioner, here to demystify the mystical and put you in touch with the most beautiful of gifts, your own intuition, because yes, my friends, don't argue with me. You have intuition. Have a wonderful, wonderful week, and I will see you next time, Friday night, 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Bye.